welcome to Peach Betty. All of my videos are about vintage baking, and each month I feature a special vintage cookbook. This month is Better Homes and Gardens. This was written in 1953. This is a republished version, but it is printed exactly the same as it was in 1953, complete with all of the cute little illustrations and even a list of meal plans from what you want to have for dinner, with the sides and even desserts. Rhubarb is in season, so I thought it'd be perfect to make a strawberry rhubarb shortcake. Oh, my brow's showing. Before you start making your shortcake, you need to make a simple syrup by putting sugar and water into a pot, bring it to a boil, and let it cook for 5 minutes. Once it's at 5 minutes, you want to pour it into a prepared greased baking dish. Now we can make our shortcake. For the shortcake, you have all-purpose flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. You have cold butter, milk, and an egg. Now these are very similar to biscuits. The original recipe has shortening, but we're going to use butter because it tastes better and it's more enjoyable to eat than shortening. You can use what you like. First thing you're going to do is take your butter, mix it in that flour, and then break it into pieces just by pressing them with your fingers. So just press it and break it apart. This is why you want it to be cold, because we don't want it to mush. We want it to be crumbly. So I'm going to get breaking all these pieces until it resembles cornmeal. Mash them up, mash them up, mash them up, mash them up. Standing on your tiptoes is optional, but apparently that's what I feel the need to do. This is exactly what you're looking for. It kind of resembles Bisquick, doesn't it? No really large butter chunks. Now what I'm going to do is take a fork and whisk up my egg, and then add it to my milk. Mix that all together, and now I can add it to my flour mixture. I like to leave a little left over just in case it's not going to absorb it all. You're going to get messy now. Start with your hands and start to mix it all together. I just kind of pull it up and fold it over. Everything's nice and cold. So that butter is nice and flaky, so our biscuits / shortcakes will be nice and flaky. It looks like I could probably use the rest of it. Pour that on in. And keep mixing. Now that we have a nice little shaggy mess, and it's kind of starting to stick together, I'm going to go ahead and pour it out on my table, so I can continue to knead it. Rub your hands together to get off all of that flour that's stuck to your fingers, because if your fingers are sticky, then the dough is going to stick to them. Press it all together, fold it over, and press again. Keep doing this until it resembles a nice smooth dough. We don't want to overdo it, because then we'll have really tough and like hockey puck dough. So just like that. See how you can see the marbles in it? Some of those little butter pieces? That's perfect. That means we're going to have flaky biscuits. Alright, I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to grab some flour and sprinkle it underneath and on top. We don't want a lot because we don't want to add that extra flour taste to it. We just want to make sure it doesn't stick to the table or our rolling pin. So the book says to roll this out like a jelly roll. It's going to be 1/2 inch thick, and we get 8 servings. Each of those slices are going to be 1/2 inch thick as well. I have a French rolling pin because that is my favorite rolling pin. Here we go. Press, back and forth, and occasionally checking to see that it's not sticking to the table. Bra strap showing. Dang it. I'm going to roll this to what I think it needs to be. I'm going to roll it up like a jelly roll. It has to have enough layers to roll up. I think the book needs better instructions, but I'll help you out here. Let's see, this is about 9 by 8. I'm going to keep it thicker because it is a biscuit dough. So I have 9 by 8 right now, and here are my strawberry rhubarb. I used frozen strawberries and fresh rhubarb, let them defrost overnight, and sprinkle a little bit of sugar on them. We have melted butter here and a brush. It says to brush your shortcake dough, And now I'm going to scatter my sweetened strawberry rhubarb over top of it. I sprinkled these with sugar before they defrosted, so a little bit of that juice kind of came out. That way this isn't going to get soggy. So I'm trying to avoid all that extra liquid that's in the bowl. Okay. I'd say that looks good. If you overfill it when we're trying to roll it up, they're all just going to fall out. Spread them all to the ends. We don't want anybody cheated on some fruit. And I'm just going to start to roll it up. This might be a little tricky. As I get to the end, I'm going to stuff my fruit in there. I'm going to pull this end up towards me. That way I don't squish out any of that fruit. And then I'm going to start to pinch it together. This already smells really good. Now that I have it pinched, I'm going to give it just a little roll. You stay in there, little strawberry. Alright, so I have my little strawberry log. Now it's time to cut it. Gotta wash my hands again. I have my roll on a cutting board here so it's safe to cut. I'm going to use a serrated knife. That way it will slice cleanly through and not squish our little spirals that we're trying to keep. So I'm going to give myself about a ½ inch, saw back and forth, and then we're placing these in our warm syrup over here. How cute are these? I'm going to try and get 3 across, 3, 6, maybe get 9 because mine was 9 inches long instead of 8 inches long. Getting a little juicy over here. I'm excited to see what this syrup does because I've never cooked biscuits in syrup like this before. Okay, so they're all ready to go into the oven. We're going to stick them into a 425-degree oven for 20 minutes. See you guys soon. While my shortcakes are in the oven, I'm going to make what the book likes to call a hard sauce. I think that's a funny name, but I think it's because the frosting hardens as it dries. But all that is softened butter, 1 stick, 2 cups of powdered sugar, some vanilla, and you're done. Ooh, got some on my finger. So this is just frosting that you would eat as a kid. This is your basic birthday cake frosting, but it's really good. There we go. Now I'm going to put this on when our shortcakes come out of the oven and they're nice and hot so that butter will kind of melt and ooze into all the crevices. It's going to be great. They have just come out of the oven. How beautiful do they look? They're very hot right now, so I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my icing to put on top. Just going to do little dollops all around and just let it melt in there. Okay. Alright, here we are. It's all melted in there and gooey. Time to serve up one. This could be a little tricky. Who do I want? You. Look at that. Serve up this little guy on here. All this gooey stuff. I think it's time to sample. It smells really good. Oh my goodness. That's so good. Gosh, that was so easy and so good. Very comforting. I call this a win, guys. Give it a try. Look at how fluffy those biscuits are. Oh my goodness. So good. Yum. I have now eaten the whole thing. I did not intend to. But the best part is that outside. The sugar on the bottom caramelized a little bit and got all sticky and chewy. It's really good. Just thought I'd point that out. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please try out this recipe and let me know what you think. You can also follow me on Instagram at peachbettymorgan. And then also every day I post photos from local Southeast Michigan vintage and antique stores. So please follow that. It's Southeast Michigan Vintage. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Bye. Just dig in here. Yum.